And now, TSPN News with Tom Slivick. Comprehensive news because in today's world, you need more than just sound bites. TSPN, streaming on the World Wide Web, and now on demand at tspntv.com. Hi everyone, Tom Slivick. Welcome to today's News in Depth. And as I said last Wednesday, Friday, and over the weekend, we would have Rich Farrington on, and we did tape some segments for that, but technology being what it is, they didn't work out. So, Rich Farrington, glad to have you on board once again. And the good news is I guess we have some more new news at this time to talk about. So we'll be getting into that right after our break. So stay with us right here on TSPN. Hi everyone, and welcome back. I'm with Rich Farrington, Director of the Amador Water Agency, and let's talk some more about SB 1199.
Okay, SB 1199 is a proposal that was just came out. It was a senator from the Bay Area used what they call a gut and amend approach, which is sort of pull out the guts out of one bill that's been in there and stick in another. And we heard about this about the second week in April. So, you know, it takes time to get people together, to analyze, to figure out what, if any, impact on water. You know, the water agency, Amador Water Agency, and again, I'm vice president, is charged with protecting the people's water. And, you know, we oppose that. As it turns out that we're still talking with a couple of other water districts, but we have 6 water districts on both sides of the river that are opposed. And we're working with 2 more today, talking about what it means and what is a wild and scenic and how it would affect our water rights.
It kind of happened, this bill, very quickly, and so the proponents that are, you know, against this bill don't have a lot of time to muster their forces.
Well, you know, back in, I think it was 2009, that East Bay Mud proposed a raising of Pardee, and right. They pulled that back, and at that point their board decided that they supported wild and scenic, but that they would wait until local entities had a chance to analyze and voice their position. And if there were issues, they support a stakeholder collaboration, that is, talking with all the interests in the Mokelumne watershed, trying to work on all the different issues. And you know, our board is strongly in favor of protecting the watershed. That's where we get 98% of our water. Now, Calaveras County Water District really doesn't take any water out of there, but the Calaveras Public Utility District does some. Anyway, we definitely are highly dependent on Mokelumne water, and we're very sensitive about not only our water rights, but the severe drought that we're in right now. The state has warned us twice that they're going to issue what they call a curtailment notice, which means we can no longer take water out of the river, which is where we get it, that we have to survive on water that's stored in existing reservoirs. And so we're concerned about that, analyzing all of that. What does that mean? And then this Wild and Scenic comes along and basically says you can't take any more water out of the river. We're scrambling to figure out the impacts.
Okay, let's talk about water rights. It's been written up in the paper that in some letters to the editor and things like that, that we have senior water rights. What rights do we have?
The water rights system is a seniority system. And basically the little catchphrase is first in time, first in right. The water right that the agency has that we have multiple rights, so it's complicated. But trying to senior rights that the state is referring to now on this curtailment effort would be prior to 1914. The downcountry water system that AWA serves Jackson, Sutter Creek, Ione, Plymouth, Dry Town, Emerald City, they have a pre-1914 right, which is referred to as senior. Although the most senior right are riparian rights, kind of like Roaring Camp has down on the Mokelumne, where they take water directly out of the river. So it would be very hard to cut off that supply.
At the last Monday, there was a meeting, a kind of a debate format where all the supervisor candidates were there, and it seemed to me that information that was coming out was somehow we were third in line for water rights. It seemed to me like probably PG&E, maybe East Bay Mud. I'm not certain. I can't remember from my top of my head. And then we were next, and it's basically almost a junior right.
Well, that's true. I was just going to say that the upcountry water system, or the Central Amador Water Project, or a lot of times the water agency will call it COP or CAWP for that upcountry system that stretches like from just this side of Pine Grove all the way up past Mace Meadows. They have a junior water right, and actually it's junior to East Bay Mud's Pardee water right. East Bay Mud got that right in 1924. Our for the COP, our upcountry water system, is 1927. So that means we're junior, and we're junior to East Bay Mud. East Bay Mud has decided that they will not have enough water from Pardee this summer, and so they are just fired up their what they call the Freeport project. There's an intake they built on the Sacramento River to pull water there and feed that to their customers in the Bay Area, and they're running that project right now. They're kind of, I think, holding back because of the concern about the need to store as much water as you can. Well, our agency has a similar concern about, what if this drought lasts another year or two or three?
We generally go into drought cycles. If we're in the natural cycle, it seems like maybe 7 years of wet, 7 years of dry, maybe 6, 7. It's right around that cycle.
Well, that's true.
I've been here.
We've had scientists looking at the weather because of the drought. A University of California scientist, a paleoclimatologist they call her, looked at the last 1,000 years and sort of plotted based on, I don't know, between tree rings and pollen deposits buried down and deep in the soil that you core down, and you check the, ways of indicating the weather. She's saying that we have been in a relatively wet cycle and we're entering a dry cycle. Well, all of our reservoirs were designed and built in the wet cycle then. Okay. Then you've got to add in these predictions about climate change, which the state and the federal government's scientific panels are all talking about and predicting, longer, hotter, drier summers, less snowpack, and rain instead of snow. And by the way, the snowpack that we depend on is a natural reservoir. But if that turns out the snow line goes up and the snowpacks are shrinking, more of the precipitation comes as rain. That just means that that's probably going to run off before we can catch it, and it's not probably going to fill up our reservoirs. Anyway, water rights. I think that water rights is a really key question, because that's where we are trying to protect and make sure that our customers have water rights. This bill of proposing the Wild and Scenic, SB 1199, would greatly impact our water rights, both the existing and future.
Let's get back and flesh that out, that statement, that it would affect the water rights, right after this break. So stay with us right here on TSPN. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Tom Slivick with Richard Farrington. Go ahead, Richard. We were talking about water rights.
Okay,
on the Mokelumne.
We were talking about this proposed Senate Bill 1199, which would designate the Mokelumne as a wild and scenic, 37 miles. What the Water Agency has been trying to do is analyze and determine what possible impact we have on water rights. And this, as proposed, this bill will take away some of our water rights. Current water rights, let me say. And one example would be, we've had under our current water rights, we have loaned some of them down below to Jackson Valley Irrigation District. And we've had an application in for maybe 10 years to transfer that back up country to the upcountry water system, which would mean we take water out up higher, up the river, instead of way down. Because of the way SB 1199 is written, any change in the flow would be prohibited. Basically, it says that the resource secretary could make a decision, but if he decided that there could be more water, it would only be for domestic, it would not include businesses or agriculture. So this is one example. Now let me continue here. I know you're gotta want to go on, but we have 500 standby paying customers right now upcountry that we could not serve if that application is denied because of the Wild and Scenic River. I mean, these people are paying, and that reserves them the right to request and get service to water if they want to. I mean, they've been paying once a year. So we've got 500, and basically there's existing lots that are there that, the customers could be potentially cut off. We're trying to protect that from happening, making sure that those customers can be served if need be, if they
otherwise,
request it.
any population growth from those people moving into the area that would also spill over an economic gain to the area would be lost.
Correct. The other existing water right that we have is called the County of Origin right.
Oh, wow.
This was developed in 1927. And this was a period after LA Department of Water and Power went into the Owens Valley on the east side of the Sierra Nevada off of 395 and basically took all that water and sent it to LA. So the state said, hey, you're impacting poor rural areas. And so what they did was filed water rights for all of the rural counties where there were headwaters, where water was, flowing out of and going some down the drainage, to be sure that we had adequate water for our future development. And basically this 1199, the way it's written, would cut that right to use that off. And what we're kind of looking at is there are 7 reservoirs in the headwaters right now that, at some point that PG operates, the dams will have to be replaced. We might want to raise them 5 or 10 feet and store a little bit more water and make sure, especially with the droughts and the predictions of climate change and less water, we would want to beef up our existing water rights. This 1199 would cut that off. Now, the agency has proposed some language that's in existing state law that we refer to Cache Creek language as that would adequately protect us. And we have not been able to get any make any progress with that proposal. And I just think that that's a reasonable accommodation there.
Who is it that you're talking to?
Pardon?
Who is it that you're talking to? Who are you negotiating with?
Well, the agency, first of all, Amador Water Agency president appointed an ad hoc committee, myself and President Toy, to explore potential protections for us, for our water, for the customers' water in the county. And besides Senator Hancock of Berkeley, there are 2 other co-sponsors that are groups that are supporting them, the Foothill Conservancy and the Friends of the River. And so we've had 2 meetings with representatives of those 2 groups exploring the possibility that, okay, say if we agreed that to go along with this wild and scenic designation of the segments where there would be no large dams, that could you at least protect our ability to perhaps catch some additional water and bank up and reinforce our current water rights. And we haven't made any progress with that. And
Okay, what about I believe there's is it Sierra Wise plan? What is that plan?
There is a a planning effort going on. It's called MOKWISE.
Okay.
And the acronym stands for, Integrated Water Planning for the Mokelumne watershed. And it includes all of the stakeholders. I mean, there are like 20 to 30 agencies, and then you've got many, environmental and other interests, maybe timber, I don't know, PG&E, et cetera, that anybody that wants to participate can attend those meetings. We have there's a great website. You just search for mokwise.org, and you'll see the description of it. And I think it's just a fantastic process. There are plenty of examples of collaborative stakeholder groups that have solved difficult problems. And I don't know, maybe some of the people know about the Quincy Library Group,
yes.
QLG, maybe I think you've explored that in the past, right, where there was a debate over timbering.
They came to an agreement, and then the government came in and put the agreement away.
Well, I think that it resulted in Dianne Feinstein, I think, carried that legislation that went through, and I haven't caught up on the status of it, but something's happened to it yet, I don't know, but at least that process of engaging all the parties, talking out our various interests, trying to make accommodations. Sure, not everybody could be happy, but if there's ways where a lot of times somebody will say, well, I don't like it, but I'll stand by and I'll allow this proposal to go forward.
Right.
That process, they received a state grant of $1 million. This process has been going on 8 months, and this bill would basically cut off all the options.
Okay.
So there is a process.
So they're planning to see how to use the Mokelumne River wisely, and but this bill would undercut that process, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and
so are you asking for possibly more time in your negotiations?
Yeah, absolutely. We would like to. Our board is asking and would like to have this bill dropped at this point and give us time and not work sort of under the gun where. We're scrambling, and we want to make sure that everybody gets a good understanding. It takes time to build some trust amongst the parties that maybe haven't, have differing opinions and whatever, to actually come out with a product. And, that may lead us to, eventually, to a wild and scenic. I don't know. But our interest is protecting our water rights, and that applies to, like I said, these other 5 water agencies, and actually there are 2 more that are in discussions right now about taking positions. That'll probably be today, so by tomorrow we'll know. But then there could be 8 water agencies on both sides of the river locally that are opposed.
Okay, and did you have a meeting yesterday?
Yesterday, the East Bay Municipal Utility District, we call it East Bay MUD, board met, and they did take a position on 1199. They finally voted to 4-2, or 1 abstention, but it really was 4-3 to oppose unless amended this 1199. And there was quite a bit of discussion about this need for a collaborative process with all the various interests involved, and as a way to successfully sort of figure out if some kind of, if there, wild and scenic is feasible, and maybe how to accommodate most of the interests.
Who's best poised to slow the process down or to get more input into the decision? The entities like the stakeholders, as you're saying, or the public at large? Because I think a lot of people, possibly now that there is a good possibility of it becoming wild and scenic, see that as a reality rather than just a nice idea.
Well, how to slow the process? Senator Lonnie Hancock is the sponsor of this bill. The East Bay board member said yesterday they had asked her if she'd be willing to drop it and potentially bring it up next year as maybe a 2-year bill, so that'd be some additional time. She's indicated, according to one of the board members yesterday, that she will not do that unless she can't get sufficient support by August. I really think that the answer is to get the parties really engaged, and I gave my commitment to the board yesterday that I support this stakeholder process, and we need to pursue this pretty intensively and not just sort of let it sit, because that board down there probably carries a lot of weight with elected officials in the Bay Area, and we're subject to sort of getting that to happen. Now, they have their East Bay Mud can benefit from wild and scenic, because that means there would be no big dams on these proposed designations to catch water and keep it from going down into their water supply. So, we're on kind of a tricky, we're walking a tightrope here, and I think everyone needs to understand that we need to take this serious. The proponents, we need to try and understand their side, and the proponents need to really take a look at our side and what are the concerns. And the county of origin water right, and why was that there? Well, it was to keep these big cities from a water grab. And let's work out some potential solution. And I think that something like the Cache Creek language in the existing laws is a good vehicle.
Okay, we're going to have to go, and thanks for coming by,
Yep.
and thanks for watching TSPN's News, and think about it. We'll see you again next time, right here on TSPN. You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.